So another video request, so I'm going to read it out before I give my suggestion to whatever problem the writer is having with his Peugeot vehicle. And he reads, hello Mr. Ikenna, how are you doing? Let me introduce myself. My name is Erwan Doubogan. Doubogan. I hope I got your name correct. I'm living in Benin Republic. I saw and watched your videos on YouTube and find them really informative. I recently bought a used Peugeot 407 with ES9A V6 engine. But it's a car I knew because it belonged to my boss back at work then. Now I have started having some issues with the vehicle, but don't want to give to any mechanic here in my country. They don't know this car very well as you do. Is it possible for you to come and check the car for me? I will pay for everything, including your transport. Recently, the engine noise is becoming louder even while in motion. Also, there is a friction noise that comes from engine at cold start or when started for the first time in the morning. Hold on, guys. Can't pick the calls now. Okay, hold on. Alright, so okay, also there is a friction noise that comes from engine at cold start or when started for the first time in the morning, which sounds like grinding sound for a second or few seconds. This morning the car refused to start, which I thought was the battery. Then I borrowed the battery and tried again, and it was the same thing. At some point, there was a scary sound or noise that came from the engine, and at the same time there was a smoke that came out around the ignition coils. And even after that, the car still refused to start. Before this incident, the car has been consuming a lot of fuel. My mechanic suggested replacing the spark plugs and the ignition coils. He also suggested I change timing belt. I really don't know the maintenance history of the car to know if I need to change the timing belt or not. And I also don't know anyone that can check if the timing belt is in good condition or not. The car, of course, has automatic transmission. Of course, it's V6, it's AM6, and the gear shifting is very, very harsh and comfortable and kind of violent in shifting. Could it be that the ATF needs replacing? The car has started before this current non-start issue. Quite a lot of issues. Almost covered like 2 pages. Okay. Where do I even start? Okay, is it possible for me to come? Well, like you asked, is it possible for me to come to your country and do the diagnosis and repair and fix your vehicle? Anything is possible, but no, for me, no. I really don't think it's worth it for me, to do that kind of distance, travel to another country. I understand, like you said, a lot of people or mechanics over there don't understand the car very well, but probably before the end of this video, I'll have some suggestions for you, but I really can't come. I understand you said you are willing to pay for whatever amount, including transportation, probably accommodation, and whatever. But nope. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Like I said, I'll make some suggestions to that. Okay, you said your engine noise is becoming louder, especially while you're in motion. And well, a lot of things I wouldn't know because, for example, I wouldn't know how the engine was sounding when you first bought the car, and how it started to sound as time went on. So, except that it didn't state if at some point the car started misfiring. Because if engine is misfiring, of course the sound will change. So that's what I can't really tell you. You are not. It didn't mention anything about misfire on your request, or your description of the car issues. So I wouldn't know what you meant by the engine. The engine sound was becoming louder, unless you are trying. You know, like I said, there are certain things that are better physically checked than, because right now I can only assume what the sound could be. I don't know. It could be maybe the exhaust has broken, maybe the catalytic, maybe the pipe that comes from catalytic converter to the rear center pump. Maybe there's a leakage there and it's becoming louder, or the center exhaust port has failed and it's becoming loud. It could be anything, or it could be the engine. Maybe the engine is becoming weak, and so I don't know. So there's no point for me giving you solutions to what I'm not so sure of. Maybe there could not even be any fault there anyway. Now you said something about friction noise that comes up when cranking the engine when it's cold. I will explain. Mostly we are saying starting engine, but there's a difference between engine cranking and the starting. The cranking is when you turn the ignition switch to start position, and the flywheel or the crankshaft rotates. Like kaka 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 whoom. That whoom is starting. Kaka kaka is crank. So know the things next time. So at least now you know the difference. So if I explain it, one will understand what you mean, because engine could be cranking, but doesn't start. Because some people will call it, "Oh, my car is not starting." Even after trying everything, it's not starting, which you actually mentioned here. However, if you don't say that it doesn't crank, or it cranks but doesn't start, we really know the extent of the issue, because there are two different things. If the car is not cranking at all, it's a complete symptom from that it's cranking but it's not starting. Okay, so he said there's a noise that usually comes from the engine, especially when it's cold and you're starting it for the first time. Now, that noise, since your engine is ES9A in 407 V6, that noise is coming from what you could say here. I could understand the symptom. The symptom you describe here is more like a common issue on that engine. That's ES9A, or even ES9J4S do have that issue. Now they have VTC. That VTC is variable timing camshaft sprocket. So that sprocket works with engine oil. So what usually happens is, depending, from my observation, owning these vehicles, on other cars I worked on, I've worked on this engine, Peugeot cars with this engine, basically on a weekly basis. So most people, especially probably when they were still new, depending on the first user or the second user of the vehicle or owner of the vehicle, if at some point you use a wrong fluid, it does affect that VTC. I'm not saying that is all, in all cases that's the cause. No, It could be other things that could make you fail. Of course, it's a part. Eventually, it's going to fail. But most times, I've come to realize that when the first user or the first people that use that vehicle, if you are using the wrong oil or not recommended or engine oil or whatever, or maybe the oil filter was bad and was restricting the oil flow to that camshaft sprocket, it tends to make that noise at the cold start. So now it doesn't mean the engine is going to blow up. Yeah, it only comes up when you leave the car overnight. The next morning, immediately you crank the engine. The first time it's going to start, you just make grrr for like 2 seconds, then goes away. Then if you are the type that use thick oil, for example, that ES9A, the engine oil recommended is like total was 9,005 W40, like standard. I use 10W40, but wouldn't bother. 5W40 or 5W30, I know ECS, total I know ECS 5W30, total was 9,000, 5W40. Of course, there are some countries that you may not find this oil, so you have to look for a good alternative. So it's not like I'm saying it's good or die or fair, it must be total, no. So if you are the type that use like thick oil in that engine, like 20W50, of course it's going to cause a lot of friction in that engine, and you're likely going to be having that issue on the VTC. So that noise will come up. That's my own understanding. It could be other things that could cause it, or naturally the camshaft will probably just fail. But however, it doesn't mean it's going to affect the performance of the engine or it's going to make the engine fail. No, don't get me wrong. That noise could stay there for next 20 years or whatever, nothing else. It only comes up when the engine is cold or when you leave it overnight. And especially if you leave the car for like a week, 2 weeks, a month or so, and you crank it, that noise will last longer. And you crank it after a long time, it will not only last longer, it will sound harsher than when you leave it just overnight. It will make kind of then goes away. So I bet if you really want to minimize or reduce that noise or happening, use the recommended synthetic oil. You find out that the noise will come up every once in a while, especially when it's cold, but won't be as bad or harsh as it sounds when you are using very, very thick oil. Going forward, you said your car refused to start, and all of a sudden, while you are you thought it was a battery, you put another battery, all of a sudden, while that's the thing now, we don't know if the engine was cranking but not starting, or it wasn't even cranking at all. He said all of a sudden a smoke came out from the engine bay, and according to you, someone saw the smoke as if it was from the ignition coil area or something. Well, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what could make your car not to start. It could be the starter motors. The ES engine, they are known for starter motor issues. So it could be that the starter motor is finding it hard to spin, and maybe, I don't know. Honestly, all these things you are saying, it's likely maybe engine was cranking. So if that case if the crank speed is okay, then it has nothing to do with the starter motor. And if it's doing like wham, of course it's starter motor. So I don't know, and in that case your engine will likely not start. If it's cranking normal, it's not your starter motor now. Something else is the problem. So I don't know, which could be electrical. Or, of course, I don't know. You said it's about timing. Okay, I'm getting there anyway. Yeah. If the timing belt is not, if your timing has gone off a little, the car is going to understand, like you mentioned before, that before this issue you had of not starting at all, that the car used to her start. Sometimes it takes a lot of crank before it starts. It's timing off. If your timing is not well set, yeah, it could cause that. So I really don't know what made your car to consume high. However, I do know on that engine, if your engine cylinder head, those your car has 2-cylinder bank, more like cylinder head, or 2 banks, bank 1, bank 2, or the one people call top cylinder. So if the cover, it has 2 metal cover and 2 plastic covers. So if the 4 of those covers or any of them start leaking oil, they tend to consume more fuel. Trust me, it's a fact that, well, you may see it as norm, but me, as someone that's been using this engine for many years, repairing other people's Lion with that engine, I've already known that in fact. Once they start leaking oil from there, the consumption go high. So the best bet is, if you're having that same issue, it could be the cause of the high fuel consumption. And here you didn't mention anything about scanning the car all this while. So it could be almost other thing, or you have not checked. You didn't say that you check your fuel pressure. It could be that your fuel pressure is low, so which will also affect your fuel consumption, or will also make affect or cause the hard start you'll be having. So, or even be the cause of this non-start. Like if the engine is cranky and it's not started, it could be the fuel pressure is low, because it's not everything that fuel pressure is not always caused by fuel pump issue. There are other things that controls the fuel delivery from the tank to the engine. So whatever it is, yes. It's a timing belt. You do not know the maintenance system. You see, one thing I always tell people, yeah, you said you bought the car from your boss. That is a vehicle you know. Guys, understand this. Just because you know someone that uses this car, he's my colleague. I bought this car from my colleague. At least I know, I see him, he comes to work with it, goes back, it doesn't stand him that way. It doesn't mean you know the maintenance caution. Unless you live with your colleague and go to workshop or go to where he does repairs with the vehicle, before you now say, okay, let me buy the car off from him. The maintenance caution is not the same with everybody. We all have a different way we maintain cars. Some people would rather go starve themselves and use that money to fix their car, while some people would rather eat and put, even if it's acid inside the vehicle. Or rather, some people would rather park their vehicle and feed until they can afford to repair their cars, while some people can afford to both feed and repair their cars without having any shortage. So we all have our own ways, we all have our own beliefs when it comes to cars and repairs and maintenance. So don't tell me, oh, my boss, he owns this car, so he ought to be maintaining it very well. Yeah, the car may be moving. It doesn't mean it was moving well. It doesn't mean at the workshop he was using mechanic that was treating the car well. Or even he himself may not even be treating the car well. Look at this stupid man. Anyway, so it may not be that he was treating the car well. So in this case, I always tell people, if you are buying a Peugeot car, especially the one that uses timing belt, guys, forget what the previous owner told you. I changed the timing belt yesterday. Forget what you think, how good you think the previous user was in terms of maintenance. Just change the timing belt. Let me repeat it. You buy a Peugeot car, a used one, and it came with, and the engine had a timing belt and auxiliary belt. See, I don't care even if it's written on the engine that, oh, I just changed the timing belt yesterday, and it's written the date and mileage was changed. I do not care. I'm telling you, my own vehicle, and if you are seeking for my professional advice, and this is what I'm going to tell you, and this is what I will do. I do not care about the previous owner's maintenance, this thing, in terms of going forward with my vehicle. I will go ahead, buy original timing belt and auxiliary belt and replace them. I bought a car, a Peugeot 407 for a client who eventually the car was taken to him in Lagos. And I remember when I was buying it from the seller, and so it was one of those things they usually say, I changed the timing belt last week. Oh, well, of course, no, I don't think he said last week. I think he said like the previous year. Yeah, he said the previous year or something like a few months ago. I think it was the previous year. Oh, I changed the timing belt the previous year. Oh, no, you don't need to worry yourself. The belt is still very good. Brand new. I bought it original again. Of course, he told the same thing to the client, because I was one in Abuja and the client was in Lagos. So I communicated with him, and my client also spoke with the seller before he now decided, okay, I should go ahead and finalize the purchase. He told the same thing. You buy this car, I don't need to worry about changing timing. It's in good shape. We changed it not long ago with original. Guess what? Purchase was made. I bought the car home. Few days later, I told the client, say, we need to change this timing belt. Oh, no, we need to, there's no money. I say, guy, well, if this car is leaving Abuja to Lagos to you, because it has to be delivered. I made the purchase here in Abuja, so it has to deliver to you. Guy, anything can happen in between. Is how many? Like 900 kilometers or so. Anything can happen, and you could lose this engine. Change this timing belt. He listened and sent money. I bought timing belt. Got my mechanic involved. We remove the timing belt and come and see. It was already shredded, as in fact, even when they opened that chamber, it's like I got one kind of big, I won't call it goosebump, it's like woof. So I would have been in a mess. As in, meaning, even the time I was there, I drove the car from where I made the purchase to my house where I parked the vehicle. If I had accelerated that car beyond like 4,000 RPM, it would have broken that belt. As in, it has already shredded. As in, I don't know. It's like when you see a belt, like how do I even put it? If I even took picture of it and sent it to him and said, this is the belt that we are expecting to take this vehicle to Lagos. It was just a small thing that was holding that belt from cutting completely. I knew what would have happened to the valves, even probably the cylinder head. And so, of course, I always have that belief and perspective. Get it changed. They don't care about those things. So in that case, so it's more like it now reinforce, my conviction that no matter what, get it changed. And anybody that calls me anything, I've never, no matter what you said, the seller told you, I will still maintain my position. Get it changed. Of course, you could be telling the truth that you change the belt, and you may now open the time and realize that, no, come on, this is still a new belt, no need of changing it. But I will still change it. So that 4 years, that 8 years, that 9 years, Peugeot said you can use the original new timing belt and you serve it that way. I will know, yes, I will start doing my own counting. Not the counting of what the other person says, because that vehicle has now become your responsibility, my responsibility. So if it was my vehicle, so if you choose not to change it, if he called the next day, it doesn't care, it doesn't concern him anymore. Even if he told you that he put the original belt 1 hour before he sold the car to you, that's your business. You chose not to change it because you thought you could save the money. Forgetting that, guy, there's something we call preventive maintenance. So I'm telling you, forget about looking for anybody that will check the belt for you. Get rid of it if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, buy the vehicle. When you can afford it, change it. If that belt cut, you may end up losing that engine. Forget this is not a child's play. Ask people that it has affected. Some people, it will be only the valve. They will change the valve. Some people, when the valve and the piston hit each other, they will go back and damage where the valve sit on the top, on the cylinder head, so that even when you put new valve, you won't be able to sit there properly. So in that case, you have to change it up. And there's one too that happened I don't know how it just cracked the piston. Not only it damaged the valves and everything, it also damaged the piston. So you could end up losing your engine. There's another one too, it happened. The guy was TU5, and before you know it, the belt caught. Even after the warning, he refused to change it. It caught, it damaged so many things. They did the replacement, the engine started smoking. He started smoking like hell. Eventually, he ended up changing the engine. If he had listened to my advice, change his belt. So I'm telling you, forget about looking for any other person who can come and open to know whether the belt is good or not. So I continue using it or not. It will not favor you. Just change it, buy original belt and put, including the auxiliary belt. He said the car, of course, V6 407 V6 AM6 automatic transmission, blah blah blah. The gear shifting is very harsh. I wouldn't know the way that transmission works with the engine. If the engine is not working very well, the transmission will also not work well. That's the worst system I've ever seen. I don't even understand. That's why I'm actually sitting in mine. I'm sitting in my own Peugeot car that have the same engine and the same transmission in yours. But I made my decision. I'm changing mine to manual. Not because the car is giving me an issue or anything. But it's so annoying that even a small misfire on the engine, I'm saying a small misfire, once the engine misfire a little, the gearbox will become useless, as in completely useless. The car will hardly move. Even when it does move, it will just be moving vertically. The gear will just be shifting as if it's completely dead. But as soon as the engine is fixed, you fix whatever the issue with the engine is, the gear comes back to normal. So that's why many people are saying, automatic gearbox is good, everything. Yet I have another Peugeot car with the same engine and manual gearbox, and sometimes the engine up to 2 cylinders will be misfiring, and the car will be running as if the car doesn't even have any issue. Except when you slow down, because the cylinder is not working very well. Of course, you feel that small vibration, but once it picks up, boom. But with that gearbox, automatic gearbox, it messes up the entire movement of the vehicle. So it's possible that it's because of what is happening to your engine that is making your gearbox to shift very harshly, like you pointed out, somehow, like violently. You push as if it's being forced to shift. Or it's possible that your gearbox too has a problem. It's automatic gearbox, though it's reliable and durable, but then doesn't mean I've not seen people that have had their issues with their AMCs. So yours can be an exception. So it's possible it's the gearbox too. All these things can be done. All you do is the proper diagnosis. And that I understand you would have wanted me to come and do it because of my understanding of Peugeot cars with these systems, or mechanicals, or electrical systems, or the entire vehicle system. I know how they communicate and all that. So it's possible that is your engine that is making your transmission, but then a thorough diagnosis will reveal what the issues are. My suggestion, like I said earlier in this video, is to I think Lagos is closer to Benin Republic or Cotonou, like we say. So I would suggest there's a Peugeot specialist in Lagos that I know have a good understanding of Peugeot electrical system, probably the mechanicals as well. So he may be able to come since he's closer, even though we are all. He's also in Nigeria while you are in Benin Republic, but he's closer to the border. So maybe where you are, it could be closer to him. He may come and do the diagnosis for you. From there, he will not tell you if everything is purely electrical or both electrical and mechanical. From here, I could tell it's not just, even if you have a mechanical issue, that electrical issues are there too. Because if not for anything, if your fuel consumption is going high, it's likely it's electrical. Mechanical can cause that too, but so you need somebody who understands Peugeot, not just try and error mechanic. Someone that does. Not like I vouch for him or anything, but I know a few people have referred to I've referred them to him, came back with good results. And also, I once in a while I do talk to him on the phone. So when you interact with somebody who is have an understanding or the knowledge that you also have, you know. So he is very good, and hopefully he may serve you depending on your discussion with him. I can only speak for myself. But if you don't want to use him, it's up to you. I will just suggest him to you, and whatever happens. So I hope the thing is about Peugeot car. You don't really need an expert to own a Peugeot. You don't need an expert. Even though a lot of people think so, but I don't. You don't need an expert to own a Peugeot car. All you need is understanding. And yes, when you first buy one, you just need probably a used one that has been messed up a little or so. You need to get it back in shape. Then find someone that will put it through on how you can now on your own continue to, not necessarily doing the repairs yourself. Of course, eventually something will fail. If you're expecting something not to fail, then go and buy a brand new car. It's as simple as that. I'm not talking to you only. I'm talking to a lot of people too that watch this video, interested in Peugeot cars. A lot of people will tell, oh, if this car will fail, if the starter motor will fail sometime, if the gearbox may have issue at some point, I will not buy it again. Then go and buy a brand new car. If you don't want any part to fail in your car, at least for the next maybe 5 years or so, you won't have anything to do with repairs. Even though you still have to change your brake pad, change certain things or fluid in your vehicle. But to tell me you don't need a car that will have a used car that will have a gear, what's it called, starter motor issue or fuel consumption issue, then you're not serious. I may sound hard share, but I see a lot of people calling me on the phone, sending me messages. Oh, I want to buy a car and I'm considering Peugeot. Please recommend one that will never give me an issue, that will never have a brake failure, that will never do that. I was like, yeah, are you even serious? As if you didn't even see where they sell brand new cars. It's a used car, whether Tokumbo or not. Used car is used car. Parts will virtually fail as the car age. Anyway, so that's my point, and like I said, I will recommend someone to you. If you WhatsApp for two of you, fine. If it doesn't, well, you have my contact. You can always reach me, and do my best from here, Nigeria, Abuja, to you over there in Cotonou or Benin Republic.